Take a deep breath. Let your body sink into stillness. The day is over now, and the night belongs to you. Let your eyes close gently. Allow your thoughts to settle like sand on the riverbed tonight. Your journey drifts backwards, far beyond memory, far beyond maps. You are no longer here. You are floating back through centuries, back through dust, stone, and starlight. The wind softens, the world quiets. You arrive in the heart of ancient Egypt around 1350 BCE, during the reign of Pharaoh Amenhotep. 3. You awaken to a world of shadow and gold. The sky is still dark, but already warm with the promise of sun. Outside your small mud brick home, the Nile breathes mist into the morning air. You hear birds, ibis, geese, herons, calling softly along the water's edge. You are a daughter of a simple household. Your father is a scribe for the temple. Granaries, your mother rises early, her fingers stained with flour, her back bent from years of grinding wheat. Your family is not poor, but you are not free. Today, you are to be examined. Your family received word last moon that a royal matchmaker is visiting the region. Girls of a certain age, 12 to 14, are to be inspected for suitability. No one dares refuse. The Pharaoh controls more than land and temples. He controls marriage, family, and even the future of your womb. Your mother braids your hair with trembling hands. She says little, only murmurs prayers to Hathor, goddess of love and motherhood. Your dress is freshly woven linen. She adds kohl to your eyes, perfume to your wrists. You are told to smile but not speak. Outside, the matchmaker's boat waits. It is long, silent, painted with gold leaf, and crewed by masked servants. You step aboard with 3 other girls from nearby homes. No one speaks. The current carries you past barley, fields, and quiet tombs. You reach the estate of the local overseer, a stone compound with fig trees and high walls. You are led inside, past statues of falcons and lotus flowers, into a shaded courtyard. There, the matchmaker waits. She is not cruel, but she is not kind. Her voice is flat, her eyes calculating. She observes without emotion. She touches your hands, your cheeks, your spine. She asks you to walk, to bow, to hold a clay jar above your head. You do not know what she sees. She says nothing when she moves to the next girl, the overseer's wife, offers honey cakes and water. You are told to eat slowly, to sit straight, to answer if spoken to. One girl begins to cry quietly. The matchmaker frowns but does not punish her. As the sun rises, you are led back to the boat. The decision will not be told to you. If chosen, your parents will be summoned. You will not return to this home again. You will be taken to a training house for noble brides to learn etiquette, speech, obedience, and silence. You float back down the river, the wind gentle against your cheek. You look out over the water, wondering what will happen, not tomorrow, but in 5 years, 10. You wonder who he will be, a merchant, a soldier, a cousin of the Pharaoh himself. You wonder how much choice you'll ever have. The boat glides. The Nile speaks in ripples and reeds. The gods are quiet. Your future hangs, like dust in the sun. Back in your village, your mother waits with her head lowered, grinding grain with too much force. Your father keeps the news to himself. The men have whispered among themselves, "You may leave tomorrow, or next year." No one tells you, that night, your dreams are not of flowers and dancers. They are filled with the rustle of fabric, the hollow echoes of stone chambers, and the weight of unfamiliar eyes. The next morning, a different woman arrives at your door. She wears the insignia of the palace and speaks only to your father. You are to begin instruction. Not yet married, but prepared. You are taken to a larger town, into a home built entirely of limestone. This is the house of bridal discipline. There are 12 other girls here. Some are younger, some cry at night. The instructors speak only. When necessary, you are not here to speak. You are here to become. You learn to walk without sound. You learn to pour wine in the rhythm of a song. You learn to listen, nod, and wait. You are taught the histories of the royal line, the meanings of sacred colors, and the correct time to raise your eyes. At night, your body aches from the posture lessons, but your mind drifts. You remember the Nile. You remember the quiet look on your mother's face. You wonder if she had this training to dot. One evening, you and 3 others are brought before a visitor. He is an elder priest from the temple of Ammon. He observes you through thin eyes and asks each girl one question. You do not remember yours, only that your voice trembled. Later, the headmistress praises your stillness. She tells you that this pleases the gods. You are not told who you will marry. You are only told what you must become. Days stretch into weeks. You are allowed to bathe in rosewater once per month. You are taught to play the harp, to grind coal, to speak the language of flowers. You do not know which of these will matter. Then, one day, the overseer returns, not to speak, to inspect. His eyes pass over you, and something shifts in his brow. That night, the headmistress visits your chamber. She holds your hand and says, "The palace has taken interest." Your breathing slows. Your fingers tremble. The matchmaker returns at dawn, and so your story begins. Let your body rest now. Let your thoughts soften. This journey has only just begun. Take another deep breath. Let the quiet unfold around you. Feel the weight of the day ease from your shoulders. Let your breath match the slow rhythm of the Nile. The matchmaker returns at dawn. She does not smile. She does not speak. Her presence alone commands stillness. You are summoned without ceremony. The sun has not yet warmed the earth, but you feel heat rising inside you, part fear, part something unknown. You leave with only the linen on your back and a small pouch of sandalwood. Powder tucked under your belt. No goodbyes, no instructions. Only your mother's hand, briefly touching your shoulder, just before you step onto the boat. The current carries you westward. The air smells of figs and distant fires. Villagers blur by. Fishermen lift their nets. You count reeds to distract. Your thoughts, 10, 20, 50. But your mind drifts. Eventually, the boat slows before a compound carved into the hillside. White limestone walls, pillars with blue lotus motifs, wooden doors painted in faded ochre. This is not a temple. It is not a home. It is something in between, a place for becoming. The woman who meets you at the gate wears an ivory sash. Her posture is perfect. Her eyes are unreadable. She does not ask your name. She already knows. Inside, the world is hushed. Your footsteps echo against polished stone floors. You pass a garden with square pools, papyrus plants, and birds in delicate cages. Girls your age walk in silence, balancing long-necked jars or rolling linen bandages. You are taken to a chamber with 4 sleeping mats. A girl glances up as you enter. Her face is familiar. She was on the matchmaker's boat. Her gaze holds recognition, but not welcome. Here, Everything is observation. Words are not wasted. Each day begins before sunrise. You are awoken by the sound of water pouring from clay jugs. The elder women, called mothers of instruction, move like shadows. You rise without being told. You are taught how to stand, how to kneel, how to walk through narrow spaces with grace. You are taught to serve without appearing servile, when to hold your breath, when to smile, when to listen and respond with 3 words or fewer in the afternoons. You sit under painted archways to recite lines from old texts, praises to Hathor, prayers to Isis, edicts written by pharaohs long dead. The air smells of red ink and beeswax. You learn not only history, but what it means to carry history. Your womb, they say, is not just yours. It is a vessel, a channel for legacy. In quiet corners, you begin to understand things unsaid. The girls who eat less are being considered. The ones who smile but don't speak last longer. The girl who spoke out of turn on her 3rd day is gone by the 5th. One morning, a girl collapses during posture training. Her head strikes the stone. No one gasps. 2 attendants lift her gently and carry her away. That evening, her mat is replaced by a new girl. You never ask questions. Night, when the compound quiets, you lie still and stare at the palm-woven ceiling. You recall the scent of your mother's bread, the warmth of your sister's hand. You imagine the river and its secrets flowing beyond the walls. Occasionally, a visitor arrives, a noblewoman, a priest, or once, a foreign ambassador. You are chosen to serve tea. You move silently, your gaze lowered, your hands steady. You pour slowly, perfectly, remembering the rhythm you were taught. When you finish, the noblewoman says nothing. But the next day, you are moved to a smaller, quieter group. You do not know if it is reward or caution in that new group. The training changes. You are taught songs, soft, wordless melodies meant to soothe and seduce. You are shown how to apply oils to create perfume from crushed petals and citrus. You are trained to write love poems in script so small it can fit inside a locket. Your teachers begin speaking less of service and more of preparation. A wife brings honor. A wife holds silence. A wife watches, learns, remembers. One evening, a mother of instruction brings you a roll of papyrus. On it is the lineage of noble bloodlines. She points to a name, a cousin to the pharaoh, and tells you nothing. Only that this name is circled in red. You do not sleep that night. The next morning, you are bathed in flower water. Your hair is perfumed and braided. You are given a tunic of pale green linen and gold-threaded sandals. The other girls watch in silence as you are led from the compound. You are not told where you are going. You are not told who will greet you. You are not told if you will return. But as you step into the chariot, drawn by 2 quiet horses, you know something has changed. The city rises ahead, stone gates, incense smoke, voices humming in the morning. Heat, somewhere inside, someone has chosen, somewhere ahead. A life waits, not yours entirely, but one you will live. Let your body settle now. Let your mind drift. The story has only just begun to unfold. Take another breath. Let it fill you slowly, then release. Let the silence grow deeper. You are resting now, and the sands of time continue to drift. The chariot carries you through narrow city streets paved with sun-baked clay. Children chase chickens across alleyways. Merchants call from shaded stalls, their tables stacked with figs, fish, and golden amulets. You hear the soft slap of sandals against the stone as your driver pulls the horses toward the palace district. Your destination is not the palace itself, but a smaller estate to the west, white walls, towering palms, and lotus flowers floating in still pools. This is the residence of the royal cousin. His name has not been spoken to you, but you sense this is a place of decision. As the gates open, a young woman greets you. She is dressed simply, but her eyes are sharp. She leads you through the courtyard without a word. Inside, the stone is cool beneath your feet. Incense coils. Lazily in the air, you are shown to a chamber lined with silk curtains. There is a bowl of honeyed dates, a carafe of spiced wine, a basin of water scented with mint. You are told to sit, to rest, and to wait. Time stretches. The walls seem to breathe. Eventually, the woman returns. She places a thin bracelet on your wrist, a mark of recognition. Then she speaks. You will be observed. Say little. Move with grace. You are brought to a wide veranda overlooking the gardens. There, reclining on a cushioned bench, is the man whose name you saw in red ink. He is older than you expected. His face is lined, his beard shaped and oiled. He wears a lapis pendant, and his nails are clean. He does not look at you first. He speaks to a servant. He eats a fig, then his eyes meet yours. He gestures for you to sit. You lower yourself gently, remembering everything: posture, breath, silence. He studies you with the patience of a scribe examining a scroll. Then he asks a question. What do you know of the Nile? Your heart races, but your voice is even. You speak of its seasons, its gifts, its danger. He listens, nods, then says nothing. You are dismissed. Back in the chamber, you are told nothing. No judgment, no praise. The bracelet remains on your wrist. That evening, you are escorted to a different room, smaller, quieter, filled with polished bowls and folded linens. A servant explains, you will remain here for some time, to serve and to be seen. You become part of the household. Not as a guest, not yet as a wife, something in between. You rise before the sun to sweep the terraces. You help the cooks grind herbs. You polish ivory combs and arrange flour garlands. Sometimes you pass him in the hallway. Sometimes you do not. Days blur, weeks pass. No word of your future is spoken. One morning you are summoned. The nobleman sits beneath a painted awning, examining scrolls. He gestures for you to pour wine. As you do, he watches your hands. My mother, he says, was chosen for her voice. They say she could quiet a storm. You do not know if he speaks in metaphor or memory. That night, you are given a new tunic, finer than before. The following day, you are invited to sit at his table. You begin to understand this is how it happens. Not with ceremony, not with words, but with proximity, with repetition, with quiet consent. Still, you are not his wife. In the evenings, you are instructed to recite poetry. You do so with steady breath, choosing verses about rivers, doves, and harvest moons. He listens. He rarely comments. One night, after the others have gone, he speaks softly. You are not like the others. You do not know if it is compliment or warning. The next day you are told to prepare for travel. You are not told why. The journey begins at dawn. You ride alongside his caravan, camels, servants, guards. You travel south, toward Thebes. The land becomes drier. The wind carries more dust. At night, you sleep in a woven tent. The stars above are unfamiliar, vast, and endless. In Thebes, you are brought to a temple of Hathor. Here, you are washed in milk and oil. You are dressed in a ceremonial robe of blue and gold. Your hair is threaded with lapis. You are told, tonight you will be recognized. There is no wedding, no feast. Only a private gathering of 6, a priest, 2 temple scribes, your nobleman, and 2 witnesses from his household. The priest reads from a scroll. He names your new title. He blesses the union with words older than memory. You stand still, listening, feeling your heart slow to match the rhythm of the chant. You are not asked to speak. Afterward, you are led to a quiet chamber filled with roses. He arrives, says little. His hands are gentle. The night passes slowly. By morning, you are a wife. The journey back is quiet. You ride beneath a canopy. Servants now call you lady. The bracelet is replaced with a carved bangle of ivory and gold. At the estate, you are moved to a new wing, larger, filled with windows and cushions. You have a servant of your own. You are instructed in household duties, accounting, correspondence, the preparation of gifts. Your days are full, but your thoughts drift. You remember the training house, the silence, the lessons. You remember the girls who stayed behind. You wonder if they, too, have been chosen at night. You watch the moon rise over the garden. You listen to the water trickle in the fountains. You feel the bracelet still on your skin. Not the old one, but the weight of being seen. Let your breath soften. Let your thoughts drift. Your story has shifted, but it has not yet ended. Let yourself rest. Take a deep breath and let it fill your lungs slowly. You are warm, safe, and still. The hush of the desert night surrounds you, and the river of time continues to flow gently beneath your thoughts. The days following your return to the estate unfold in a softened rhythm. You wake to the sounds of servants preparing morning offerings, the rustle of silk, the soft swish of broom across stone. You are now a wife, not a queen, not a concubine, but something in between. A chosen companion to a man whose name carries weight, whose lineage traces back to divine blood. You eat alone, often. A tray of figs, dates, and flatbread brought to your chamber each morning. You sip from a clay cup filled with cooled mint. Tea, watching the garden come alive with light. Peacocks roam near the pond. Servants move quietly around them. Your husband is not always present. He attends ceremonies, oversees land disputes, reviews scrolls of harvest yields. When he returns, he speaks sparingly. At night, he joins you only occasionally. His presence is neither cruel nor warm. It is ceremonial. One afternoon, a messenger arrives. The Pharaoh will be visiting the nearby region. Your husband is to host a banquet in honor of the royal entourage. You are to assist in preparations. This is your first formal task, not as a girl in training, but as a woman of standing dot. You spend the following days overseeing arrangements. The courtyard must be scrubbed, the musicians chosen, the menu finalized. You select cloth for the tables, oils for the lamps, and garlands for the pillars. You do this all without complaint, though each choice is watched by senior women of the household. On the night of the banquet, the estate flickers with gold. Lanterns sway from carved wooden poles. Musicians line the path with harps and flutes. Servants pour honeyed wine into bronze cups. You wear a gown dyed with crushed pomegranate skins, its edges lined with green embroidery. Your hair is wrapped in a net of small turquoise beads. When the Pharaoh arrives, you do not meet his eyes. You kneel, bowing your head as protocol demands. The air shifts. There is power in the space he enters, a weight that alters breath and posture. You are permitted to serve wine, to speak only if asked, and to remain still otherwise. Your husband exchanges formal words with the Pharaoh's steward. You observe, from a short distance, hands folded, breath even. Later, when the guests have eaten and the musicians rest, your husband gestures for you to sit beside him. This, too, is a signal. You obey. You speak of the arrangements. He nods, then says, "The Pharaoh's wife remarked on your restraint. It is the closest thing to praise you have heard in weeks." In the days that follow, the estate quiets. The Pharaoh's caravan moves on. You return to the rhythm of domestic duty, but something has shifted. You are now watched more closely, but with a different intent, not as a girl in training, but as a woman being assessed for her future role. One morning, your husband summons you to the writing room. There are scrolls open on the table, and a priest seated across from him. The priest's robes bear the seal of the temple of Mat, goddess of truth and order. They are discussing alliances. Your husband is considering a move to another region, perhaps Memphis or the Delta provinces. The priest says, the union must be visible. It must bring balance. You do not speak, but you feel the meaning behind their words. Later, your husband tells you directly, you will travel with me. You will represent this house. You will be watched. So begins the second chapter of your new life. You leave the estate after 2 weeks of preparation. The journey is slow. Camels carry your trunks of linens, oils, scrolls. Guards walk beside your carriage. You pass through arid plains, clusters of palm trees, wide stretches of farmland. The Nile always to your east, like a ribbon threading. Through the land you arrive in Memphis, larger, noisier, filled with white stone temples and busy marketplaces. Your new residence is smaller than the estate, but closer to the heart of power tier. Your duties multiply. You are introduced to other wives, daughters of generals, scribes, distant cousins, to royalty. Their eyes linger on your dress, your silence, your posture. You learn to navigate this world. You listen carefully, speak sparingly, and keep your gaze soft but alert. In this circle, everything is performance. You begin hosting smaller gatherings, teas beneath the shade of sycamore trees, poetry recitations in candlelit halls, incense rituals on feast days. You choose your words like jewels, few polished and placed deliberately. Your husband speaks of you more now. To others, he refers to you as the steady one. You are not sure if this is affection, but it gives you space to exist. At night, you sometimes think of the training house, of the girls who walked the chalk lines with bowls balanced on their heads, of the one who braided your hair before bed, of the girl who cried on her first morning. You wonder where they are now. One evening, a letter arrives, sealed with a red cord. You recognize the mark. It is from the headmistress of the bridal training house. The message is brief. A girl you once knew has been chosen to serve in the Pharaoh's inner court. You remember her, the one who knelt with too straight posture and never blinked. You feel something, not envy, not sorrow, something quieter, like watching a lotus open, far away, on a part of the river you will never reach. You light a lamp and whisper a prayer. The days continue. You manage the household. You greet visiting officials with grace. You stand beside your husband during temple processions. You become a symbol of order, refinement, and restraint. And yet, inside, you remain watchful. You remember that none of this began with your desire. that your role was shaped before you understood it, that your silence was trained, not chosen. Still, you carry it well. The women in Memphis begin to speak of you as an example. The priestesses invite you to participate in sacred offerings. You are trusted. Your husband's influence grows. So does your visibility, but your voice remains your own, rarely used, carefully preserved. Let your breath grow slow now. Let your thoughts soften like linen in water. The palace is quiet, and your story flows onward, gentle and strong. Take a slow breath in and let it out with calm. Let the dust of the day fall away from your shoulders. The world is hushed again, and in this stillness, the story continues to bloom. The new residence in Memphis becomes your new skin. The corridors hold the scent of lotus oil and papyrus ink. The floor is colder here, but the rooms are filled with light. You are introduced to new routines, new roles, and new eyes that linger longer than they should. Your husband receives more visitors now, scribes, diplomats, commanders. You sit silently at his side when required. You nod when appropriate. You offer wine and leave before words become politics. You understand more than you say, and that, you realize, is its own kind of power. One morning, a message arrives from the temple of Isis. The high priestess has requested your presence. You are not told why. You bathe with care. Your linen robe is clean and modest. You wear no jewelry. When you arrive, you are met not by the high priestess, but by a younger woman who leads you to a small chamber filled with bowls of burning myrrh. You will wait, she says softly. The air grows heavy with the scent of smoke and dried herbs. You sit cross-legged on a cushion, palms resting on your knees. Minutes pass, perhaps hours. Finally, the curtain parts. The high priestess is older than you expected. Her face is stern, her steps measured. She looks at you for a long time. You do not speak much, she says. You bow your head. That is good, she continues. But silence must be matched with understanding. She gestures for you to stand. She walks around you slowly, as if measuring something invisible. The Pharaoh's court is watching your husband. That means they are watching you. You keep your breath steady, she continues. If you are to become more than a household symbol, you must understand what your silence costs and what it protects. She does not explain further. She simply hands you a scroll and dismisses. You, back home, you unroll the scroll in the privacy of your chamber. It contains a passage, part wisdom text, part prophecy. It speaks of balance, legacy, and the burden of sacred unions. That night, you dream of sand falling through an hourglass. You hear a voice, not your own, reciting the passage aloud. In the weeks that follow, your presence is requested more often. You begin to accompany your husband to temple events, to banquets, even to the court of a minor governor. You become a reflection, composed still, graceful, but at night, your mind remains alive. You write small thoughts on scraps of cloth and tuck them inside your robe. Questions, warnings, prayers. You do not share them, they are for you. One evening, during a gathering of wives and priestesses, the topic of fertility arises. It always does, eventually. A woman mentions the goddess Tauret and the offerings made to secure sons. You feel their eyes on you. Your husband has no other wives, no children. You offer a polite smile, and the moment passes. But the question lingers. Your husband never speaks of heirs. You do not know if this is by choice or design. In the privacy of your room, you sometimes press your palm against your abdomen, imagining What could grow there? Another letter arrives, this time from the training house. A girl you once helped braid her hair has completed her studies. She has been sent to marry a foreign prince allied with the Pharaoh. She remembered you. She wrote a prayer in your name and left it at the temple gate. You feel warmth in your chest, followed by something colder. You realize how far you've drifted from the girl you once were. Your days continue. You rise with the sun. You attend rituals. You manage the household. You listen. Always listen. One afternoon, while walking through the garden, a child runs past you. A servant's daughter. She trips, scrapes her knee, and begins to cry. You kneel instinctively, pressing your hand to her cut, murmuring comfort. Her mother arrives, horrified. She bows repeatedly, apologizing. You say nothing, but you smile and wave her away. Later that night, your husband mentions it. The household is speaking of your kindness, he says. They say you touched the girl as though she were yours. You nod, unsure of whether it was praise, rebuke, or observation. The palace sends another message. You are to attend a gathering in Thebes, a celebration of harvest, hosted by one of the Pharaoh's senior wives. Your husband will remain in Memphis. It is the first time you will travel alone, escorted only by guards and servants. The journey is long and silent. The desert winds hum low songs across the dunes. At night, you sleep beneath canopies woven with stars. Thebes rises before you like a dream, massive columns, painted murals, the Nile curling around its edges like a serpent at rest. You are greeted with respect. Your chambers are modest, but they overlook a courtyard of palm trees and shallow pools. The gathering is grand but reserved. Wives from across the kingdom wear linen dyed in colors that shimmer like beetle wings. They speak in delicate tones. Laughter is quiet, measured. You are introduced to the Pharaoh's senior wife. She is poised, graceful, and direct. I've heard of you, she says. The quiet one. You bow, only when needed. She smiles. It is not unkind. You will sit beside me during the offering, she says. The ceremony takes place at dawn. You stand beside her on the temple steps, holding a basket of figs and barley. The chants echo off stone. The sun glows orange behind. The pillars, you feel the gaze of the crowd, of priests, of gods. Later, back in your chambers, a servant brings you a small clay tablet. It bears the Pharaoh's seal. You are summoned. Let your breath stay calm. Let your mind be still. The story, like the river, flows deeper now. Take another breath, soft and slow. The air is warm, the light is dim, and the world has quieted. You are safe here, as your story deepens and the past draws you close. The Pharaoh's seal weighs heavy in your palm. The clay tablet is cool, smooth, and unmistakable. The moment you receive it, the chamber grows still. Even the servants seem to move differently. Cautious, reverent, you dress in silence. A robe of sheer linen, simple and unadorned. Your hair is bound in a modest braid. You are escorted from your chamber by a single attendant who carries a lamp, though the path is already lit by flickering wall torches. You are led through corridors carved with ancient glyphs, depictions of Ra sailing across the sky, of Osiris presiding over judgment, of Hathor cradling infants in her arms. Each wall seems to whisper old truths. At the threshold of the chamber, the guard bows. You are instructed to enter alone. The room is vast but sparsely furnished. Stone benches, a low incense altar, and a single gold-framed seat draped in white cloth. The pharaoh sits there, alone, robed in white and gold, his brow circled with a simple woven band of reeds and lapis. You kneel without being told. He studies you, not with cruelty, but with the weight of many years. You were once trained in silence, he says. You nod. Do you understand why? Your voice is soft. To listen, to observe, to serve. He smiles faintly. And now, you pause, to remember. He leans back, considering your words. The silence stretches, but it is not uncomfortable. It is full, rich, with unseen currents. He rises and walks to the altar. He lights a bundle of herbs and breathes in the curling smoke. Do you know what this is? He asks. You nod. Blue lotus, myrrh, acacia, bark. These scents calm the heart. But they also sharpen memory, he says. And memory is what builds empires. He gestures for you to stand. You are not here to be judged, he continues. You are here because I have questions, and I believe you will answer them honestly. He leads you to a stone bench opposite his. You sit, and the chamber falls silent, except for the crackle of incense. He asks about your husband, his conduct, his dealings, his ambition. You answer carefully, truthfully, aware that every word may ripple outward. Then he speaks of legacy. I have sons, he says. Too many, not all are wise. Some are strong, one is clever, but none are balanced. You say nothing, he watches. Your husband, is under observation. There are whispers of elevation. If the gods favor him, he may rise. You understand, and if he rises, so will you. But only if you remain unshakable. You were not chosen for beauty alone, the Pharaoh says. You were chosen because you see without speaking, because you know how to hold a truth without wielding it as a weapon. You bow your head. I will ask one final question, he says. Do you wish for children? The question catches you, not for its boldness, but for its weight. You pause. If they are mine, in more than name. If they are born from peace, not politics, yes. The Pharaoh nods once. Then he dismisses you. You leave the chamber without looking back. Outside, the moon is rising. The streets of Thebes glow silver and blue. You are escorted to your quarters, where a servant waits with warm water and scented oil. You bathe slowly, your mind steady. You have passed through fire and emerged whole. In the days that follow, whispers travel through the palace. You are seen walking with the senior wife. You are invited to speak in the temple library. You are no longer just an extension of your husband's ambition, you are something more. The Pharaoh's caravan prepares to depart. You are given a scroll, sealed in gold thread. It is a personal blessing, short, elegant, written in his own hand. It speaks of patience and balance, of silence turned to strength. You return to Memphis with new eyes upon you. Your husband greets you with formality. He notices your tone has shifted, your gaze sharpened. He does not ask what happened in Thebes. You resume your duties, but now with deeper clarity. You speak less, but say more. When you host gatherings, you choose who is seated closest to power. When you write messages, they are quoted. One evening, your husband places his hand gently on your stomach. Perhaps it is time, he says. You say nothing. But later that night, you write a prayer for guidance and burn it in the household altar. You are not the girl from the river anymore. You are the river. Let your body soften. Let your mind be still. The path continues, deeper, wiser, and wholly your own. Take another breath and settle into the stillness. The desert winds have quieted. The water of the Nile flows with memory and grace. You are ready now to hear what comes next. Months pass. The household begins to change. You notice it first in the rhythm of the servants, in the arrival of new scrolls sealed with foreign crests, in the shift of your husband's voice when he speaks of distant governors. Something is building: influence, ambition, a slow rising tide. Your husband begins to travel more often, brief visits to neighboring provinces, whispered meetings with priests and scribes. He no longer tells you where he goes, but you read it in the absence. In the neatly folded tunics he requests, in the quickened pace of the household scribes. You remain at the center of the home, but your role deepens. When he is gone, people come to you. Servants, messengers, even visiting wives ask your judgment. You no longer respond with timid phrases. You answer with the softness of certainty. It is not loud, but it is final, your husband notices. One evening, after returning from a week away, he finds the ledgers reorganized, the guest quarters cleaned, the garden redone. He says nothing, but at dinner, he raises his cup slightly toward you. It is a gesture of acknowledgement. One day, a midwife arrives, sent by the temple. She carries herbs and quiet questions. Your body has not changed, not yet, but the palace has begun to prepare. The Pharaoh's blessing carries weight, a signal to others that your household is no longer just one among many. The midwife examines you gently. Her hands are warm, her eyes kind. She asks if you sleep well, if you eat, if you dream. You do not speak of your dreams. They are filled with water, with red feathers, with the faces of girls you once knew. The high priestess of Memphis sends for you. You arrive dressed in blue linen, your hair coiled with small ivory pins. She receives you in a garden of sycamore trees. She pours you tea with her own hand. There are women who rise because of their husbands, she says, and there are women who rise despite them. You, I think, are the third kind. You, listen. The Pharaoh has seen your balance. The gods have heard your silence. Your name has begun to echo where names matter. You do not ask what this means. She places a small carved scarab into your palm. Place this in the house altar. It will open what is already prepared. You bow, you leave. That night, you light the altar's flame. You place the scarab at the center. You whisper no prayers, only silence. A silence that holds meaning. Weeks later, your husband is summoned to Thebes, not alone with you. You travel in a covered chariot. The road is lined with stone markers, each inscribed with blessings for a safe journey. Farmers bow as you pass. Children wave in Thebes. You are taken to a different residence, this time closer to the temple complex, farther from the river. You are greeted not by servants, but by scribes. There are scrolls waiting for you, and decisions. A councilwoman, tall, composed, with silver strands in her braid, explains, "You have been asked to advise." You blink, advise. There are girls being chosen for the next generation. Some for temples, some for the court, some for foreign alliances. They need a guiding voice, one who has lived through selection, through transition, through rise. You do not answer immediately. You remember the girl beside you in the matchmaker's boat, the chalk lines in the training house, the quiet tears behind the temple curtain. You nod. You are given a chamber in the women's quarter of the temple. There are cushions, scrolls, and a low table where two girls now sit cross-legged. They look up when you enter. One lowers her gaze. The other stares, defiant. You begin simply. You ask their names. You ask what they know of silence. The quiet one speaks first. It is a shield. The other replies, it is a prison. You say nothing. You sit with them. The days pass in steady rhythm. You teach them not with rules, but with questions. You show them how to walk without sound, how to answer without fear, how to notice the weight behind a glance. You do not erase their pasts. You help them carry it. One day the councilwoman returns. There is to be a procession. You and your students will walk with the priestesses. You dress them in white. You place a single lotus flower in each of their hands. You walk behind them, not as a guard, not as a master, as a witness. The streets of Thebes fill with song and smoke. The Pharaoh appears briefly, a flash of gold and command. The girls do not flinch. They hold their flowers high. Afterward, a letter arrives from the palace, sealed with the Pharaoh's mark. You are invited to attend the royal gardens alone. You arrive at dusk. The garden is filled with papyrus reeds and blue lotus in bloom. The air smells of earth and sky. The Pharaoh stands near the pond, feeding fish with small crumbs of bread. You've grown, he says. You bow. You have planted things, not for yourself, for others. He walks beside you. You move slowly, together. I have a request, he says. There are foreign wives arriving, daughters of allies. They do not know this land, its silence, its rules. Will you teach them? You do not answer with words, you simply nod. He places a small token in your hand, a ring carved with the sigil of Ma. Single quotes, at balance, truth, guidance. That night, back in your chamber, you place the ring beside your scarab. You realize something. You are not preparing for power anymore. You are power, prepared. Let your breath deepen. Let your eyes grow heavy. The river still flows. Your story is not over yet. Breathe in slowly. The night is thick with stars, and the air carries the scent of jasmine and old stone. You are calm now. The story continues. You remain in Thebes longer than expected. Not as a visitor, but as a teacher, a guide, a quiet guardian of what comes next. The girls you trained have begun helping others. Your methods have spread, not through command, but through example. Stillness has become strength. The foreign wives arrive, 5 of them, daughters of eastern kings, northern warlords, coastal chieftains. They wear strange cloth, and their hair is braided with beads of coral and glass. They speak in unfamiliar rhythms. At first, they look at you with suspicion. Who is this Egyptian woman with no crown, no title, but who walks with the ease of a priestess and is obeyed like one? You do not rush their trust. You teach them through presence. You take them to the temple gardens and let them wander. You show them how to speak through gesture, how to bow not in weakness but in wisdom. You explain the stories on the temple walls, not as legend, but as warning. Over time, they soften. One begins to wear her hair like yours. Another asks for a prayer stone. A third begins to greet the priestesses in perfect Egyptian. You understand then that what you are shaping is more than manners. You are weaving stability. One morning, during incense prayers, a new girl joins your circle. She is young, perhaps 11, and her robe is trimmed with the blue thread reserved for those marked by prophecy. You recognize the signs. She is one of the chosen girls, raised in secret for roles, not yet spoken aloud. You speak with the high priestess that night. She dreams of fire and birds, the priestess says, and she speaks of the Pharaoh's death before it happens. But she does not lie. You offer to mentor her personally. The high priestess agrees. Her name is Neferet. She becomes your shadow. She listens more than she speaks, mirrors your movements, repeats your phrases under her breath. When you walk the halls, she is one pace behind. When you pray, she watches your hands. But she is not soft. She is sharp, like obsidian. You feel her watching everything. One evening, you ask her what. She sees, she answers. A future that is afraid of women. You say nothing. You let her words settle like dust on old stone. The Pharaoh grows older. His visits become fewer. The court begins to shift. New faces appear. Generals with broader shoulders. Scribes with deeper voices. Your husband is now a governor. He returns to Thebes more often, but he no longer questions your place here. He speaks of you with reverence, but also with distance, as though you were both sculpture and storm. Neferet is invited to a dinner of royal daughters. You dress her in white, her hair oiled and coiled like a crown. Before she leaves, you press a palm to her forehead. Do not be silent when you must speak, you whisper. And do not speak unless your words hold weight. She nods at the dinner. She quotes one of your prayers. A queen consort takes notice. Neferet is invited to remain in the royal school. Her path is now carved. You return to your quiet post. The garden remains your sanctuary. You write scrolls, now lessons on the language of the hand, the meaning of shared glances, the use of pauses in diplomacy. These are copied and shared. Your words are studied. Your silence is understood. One day, a girl from your old village arrives. She is not chosen. She is not noble. She came as a servant and rose through care. She kneels before you, tears in her eyes. I saw you once on a boat, she says. I never forgot. You lift her. Then it was not for nothing. She joins your circle. You realize that the story you are living is no longer about one marriage, not even one empire. It is about the quiet fire passed from woman to woman. One night, beneath a full moon, you are summoned to the river. A boat waits. A priest stands at the helm. You board without question. You are taken to a small temple, one hidden among reeds, older than most remember. Inside, candles burn low. The high priestess is waiting. It is time, she says. You will take my place. You do not speak. You kneel. A cloth of gold is placed on your shoulders, a ring of reed and shell on your head, oil across your brow. You are now the voice of the goddess, not in command, in balance. The ritual is brief, but the weight is eternal. You walk from the temple as the wind shifts. You feel the world turning slightly, softly, as though even the stars recognize your name. You are no longer someone who was prepared. You are the one who prepares. Let your body rest. Let your mind empty. The story is near its end, but not quite. Breathe in again. Let the quiet of dusk settle over you. Your eyes grow heavier with each moment, but the story still has one more turn, one more ripple across the Nile. Your first morning as high priestess begins before the sun rises. The temple breathes softly in the dark. The floor is cool beneath your bare feet. The lamps flicker as you pass. You know these halls, their lines, their echoes, but they seem different now. Now, every sound belongs to you. You enter the sanctuary and kneel before the altar. It is smaller than you remember. Or perhaps you have grown. You place your hands on the stone and whisper nothing. Words are no longer needed. The silence itself is prayer. Outside, the temple begins to stir. The younger priestesses wake first, washing their faces in bowls of cold water, their robes still stiff with mourning. You pass among them with a gentle nod. They bow without needing to be told. A scribe brings you a scroll, the offerings list for the festival of Wepatrempet, the new year. You read it slowly. Dates, oils, barley cakes, scented resin, dyed cloth, all in order, all in balance. Later, you sit with a council of matrons, older women who oversee the temple's governance. You speak less than they do, but when you do speak, they listen. You ask how many girls arrived this season, 11. You ask how many have shown signs, 3 signs, dreams, patterns, voices, wisdom without training. You remember Neferet. You wonder how she is. You no longer keep track of names, but hers remains carved in memory. You ask to meet the new girls that evening. 3 small figures are brought to you. They are quiet, curious, afraid. One cannot stop blinking. One stares at the ceiling. The third won't meet your eyes. You ask them each a question. What is silence for? The first girl says, so we don't get punished. The second says, so we don't disturb the gods. The third says, so we can hear everything. You dismiss the first too gently. You keep the third. Her name is Sarah. She is 10 years old. She does not ask to be taught. She asks to watch. So you let her. She follows you through every rite, every blessing, every circle of prayer. She sits near when you review offerings, when you speak with ambassadors, when you light candles. For the dead, she never interrupts, never copies. She absorbs. At night, you hear her reciting the temple hymns in her sleep. The temple runs smoothly. Your name is spoken with reverence. Even in the palace, the queen mothers mention you in passing. The one who sees without looking. The one who listens without leaning. Your husband visits. Rarely. He is now more politician than man. His robes are heavier, his steps slower. When he does appear, he watches the temple with guarded respect. You speak. Briefly in the garden. You were always meant for this, he says. You smile, but say nothing. There is nothing left between you but memory, not love, not resentment. Only the calm sand between 2 monuments. He leaves before sunset. Sarah brings you a small clay tablet she carved herself. It bears a single symbol, the balanced feather of Mat. You place it beside the others. Your teachings begin to travel. Copies of your scrolls reach distant temples. Young women in Karnak quote your reflections. A scribe arrives from Nubia to translate your verses into the southern dialect. Your name becomes a quiet wind one morning. A procession arrives at the gates. For noble girls, cloaked in white, attended by guards and foreign envoys. The eldest carries a sealed scroll. They are daughters of allies, promised 2 sons of the court. But they are here for blessing. You receive them in the outer courtyard. You anoint their foreheads. You speak one sentence. May your silence be your strength. May your strength be gentle. One of them weeps. That night, you dream of water again. But not the Nile. An endless sea, black and silver, full of whispering women. They do not speak, but you understand them. They are not ghosts. They are not goddesses. They are memory. You wake with tears on your cheeks. Time begins to move differently. The years no longer count by seasons, but by girls who pass through your care, by scrolls sent by names remembered. Sarah grows taller, her hands steady, her voice stronger. One evening, she places a cup of honeyed tea before you and says, "It is time you began to rest more." You laugh, she continues. "The temple listens to me now too." You nod, you have seen it. She speaks with clarity. She guides without force. The younger girls turn to her now. She has taken your lessons and shaped them into her own. You give her a ring carved from lapis, worn thin from years. It once belonged to the high priestess before you. It now belongs to her. She does not cry. She accepts it with both hands. You begin to spend more time in the gardens, watching, writing. Your hands tire faster now, but your mind remains sharp. One afternoon, a young scribe brings you a collection of your own teachings, compiled, bound in leather, carried from temple to temple. It is titled, "The Feather and the Flame." You hold it, stunned, not because you wrote it, but because someone remembered. Sarah reads to you at night, your own words. You close your eyes and let them wash over you like water. One evening, you wake from a dream with a single phrase in your mouth. "I am the river, not the reed." You write it on a strip of linen and place it beneath your pillow. The temple prepares a celebration, not for a god, not for a festival, but for you, a recognition. You protest. Sarah insists. At the ceremony, dozens of women gather. Some you know, many you don't. They carry candles, feathers, fragments of scrolls. They sing hymns in soft tones. The high priestess of another temple speaks. She taught us that silence is not absence, but power. That waiting is not weakness, but wisdom. That to guide, one must first carry. You do not speak. You bow your head. Your heart is full. Later that night, you sit alone beneath the stars. The air is still. The lamps burn low. The Nile glimmers beyond the temple walls. Sarah joins you. She says nothing. You hand her a small clay scarab, the same one the high priestess gave you so long ago. "It is yours now," you say. She holds it gently. The torch passes. Let your breath settle. Let your body grow still. The end is near. But endings are only beginnings. Take one last deep breath. Let it fill your chest like the Nile in flood season, slow and full. The world is hushed now. This is the end, but also the beginning. The part where silence says the most. Years pass, though you no longer count them. In seasons or ceremonies, you measure time in laughter echoing through temple halls, in the hush of the library during rain, in the knowing glances between girls who carry your lessons. The temple lives around you like a body. It breathes, and you are its heart, steady and soft. You walk the halls less. Your steps are slower, more deliberate. You rest more. But when you enter the courtyard, everything still quiets, not from fear, but from reverence. You are no longer the instructor, nor the guide. You are the still center, the well from which they draw. Sarah walks beside you often now. She does not ask if you are well. She sees it in your hands, your eyes, your breath. She has become what you once were, quiet, assured, watching always. One evening, while the sun sets over the temple garden, she brings you a bundle of dried papyrus scrolls. They've written your teachings into the temple canon, she says. The scribe from Nubia came back. He said your verses are used in prayer circles across the southern courts. You nod. They are not mine, you say. They belong to those who listened. She smiles. Then we've all listened well. The days grow shorter, the breeze cooler. You spend most afternoons beneath the sycamore tree near the sanctuary. Wall, birds roost above, bees hum around the hibiscus. You write less now, though you still carry a reed pen behind your ear. Out of habit, children come to sit at your feet, some chosen for training, some children of servants. You do not speak much. You tell them old tales from when you were a girl, from before you were chosen. About the first time you rowed a boat, about a boy who tried to kiss your cheek behind the granary, about your mother's bread, always too flat, but sweet with figs. They laugh, and then they listen. One of the girls, a tall, quiet one named Nile, places a flower behind your ear one day, so they'll always know you bloomed, she says. That night, you cannot sleep. You lie awake, hands folded over your chest, eyes tracing the beams above. You think about the river, always the river. It has followed you like a shadow, like a guide. From the matchmaker's boat to the garden walls, it has whispered truths to you. You think about the first question the Pharaoh ever asked you. What do you know of the Nile? You never answered fully, but now you know it flows even when unseen. It carries life without demanding thanks. It gives and takes with equal calm, and it never rushes. The next morning, Sarah finds you still in bed. She brings warm tea and a plate of figs, then sits quietly. You finally speak. It's time to give it all away. That afternoon, you call for the keepers of the scrolls. You hand them your personal notes, not lessons, but reflections. Margins full of wisdom never spoken. Aloud, they bow low and carry them away. You give your cushion to a girl who cannot sleep. You give your carved ring to Sarah's second. You give your comb to the youngest of the novices, who always braids her hair backwards. You keep only one thing, the scarab. Later that week, a messenger arrives from the new Pharaoh. A formality, a parchment scroll sealed in wax, thanking the temple for its enduring devotion. There is no signature, no name, only a seal. You do not open it. Sarah burns it quietly in the fire. There is no anger in the room, only understanding. The next few nights are clear. The stars are so sharp they feel etched into the sky. You sit beneath them with a blanket around your shoulders and let your thoughts drift like lotus petals. You speak with Sarah in the way you once did with the girl you used to be, slowly, gently, without explanation. You say, if you ever wonder what your legacy is. She looks up. It's who still whispers your words when you're gone. She nods, her eyes shine. She does not cry. She has learned that tears are not the only way to grieve. That night, you sleep soundly, but when you wake, you feel the weight, not pain, just certainty. You rise slowly, bathe, dress in your oldest robe, the one given to you the day you were named High Priestess. You walk to the garden once more, this time without help. The stone is cool beneath your feet. You touch the sycamore bark and place the scarab at its base. Then you return to your room. Sarah finds you there, seated with hands folded, eyes closed, face calm. You open your eyes once more and say, I am not leaving. I am arriving. Then you sleep, and this time you do not wake. Sarah places a white cloth over your body. The priestesses gather in silence. No wails, no trumpets, just the soft brushing of linen and the scent of myrrh. You are not embalmed. It was your wish. You were buried in the temple garden, near the tree, beside the scarab. The girls pass your grave each day. They place feathers, lotus petals, pieces of their own prayers. No one builds a statue, no one etches your name in stone. Instead, they remember. Quietly, they sing your hymns at dusk. They quote your verses to foreign queens. They teach your stories in places you've never seen. And every now and then, a girl in some distant land will hear your name whispered between pages, not shouted, not gilded, just offered gently. And she will feel less alone, because she will know someone came before her, someone who waited, who watched, who never raised her voice to be heard, and still was. And in a quiet room somewhere lit only by candlelight, with linen sheets and a cool breeze through a window, a girl will hear this story and close her eyes and sleep. Let your breath settle. Let your spirit stretch. You are not the reed, you are the river, and the river always remembers.